What's up, Logan? Question number 5. Simplify. Write your complex answers, write your complex numbers in standard form. Okay, so question number A is subtraction. And all this means, right, when you subtract a term, when you subtract a parentheses, it just means the opposite of whatever's in that parentheses. So this problem right here, the 4 minus 5i doesn't need a parentheses. All right. And then the 13 minus 22i doesn't need a parentheses once you indicate that you're taking the opposite of it. So the opposite of 13 is negative 13. Now, some people would ask, how did you know you're going to do the opposite? Well, because it says minus, and that's what minus means, the opposite of what's there. And then next we have to take the opposite of negative 22i, which is plus 22i. And now we have something that kind of looks like a binomial or collecting like terms. And that's exactly what it is. So now we're just going to collect the like terms on this problem. The 4 and the 13, right there and there. Negative 13, that's going to give us negative 9. And then the 5i and the 22i is going to give us 17 plus 17i. Now, standard form for a complex number is always going to be the real number followed by the imaginary number, okay? So the real number followed by the imaginary number or the complex number. So our answer for question A is going to be right here, negative 9 plus 17i. Moving on, question B. Question B, when you're adding binomials or when you're adding complex numbers, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to take the opposite of it. So it's just 4 minus 5i. And then we write down what we see. So 13, positive 13, and negative 22i. So plus 13 minus 22i. And some of you are like, so you only change it when it's a minus sign? Yep. And when it's a plus sign, everything stays the same. Nothing changes. All right. But you do collect like terms here. 4 and 13 comes out to 17, my mistake, 17. And the negative 5i and the negative 22i becomes negative 27i. And that's in standard form because you have the complex number, the real number followed by the complex number. So that's our answer for question B. Moving on to question C. With question C, there's no addition or subtraction. That indicates that it is multiplication. So we're going to multiply this thing, also known as FOIL. So we're going to multiply the 4 and the 13. That's going to give us 52. And then after we do that, we multiply the 4 and the 22i, and that's negative. That gives us negative 88i, followed by multiplying the negative 5i and the 13. So the negative 5i and the 13 right there, we're going to multiply those guys, and we're going to get negative 65i. And then finally, the last thing we need to do is we need to multiply the 5i, that's negative, times the negative 22. And this is going to give us positive 110 I to the power of 2. Now, this is one of the things I really like about complex numbers is that unlike variables that can have exponents, I cannot. The complex number I, the unit, can't have exponents on it because they automatically turn themselves into numbers or i's. What I mean by that is I squared is just negative 1. So anytime I see this, I just say, oh, that's the same as saying 110 times negative 1. That's an automatic, immediately do that as soon as you see I to the power of 2. Change the I to the power of 2 of negative 1. In other words, change the positive 110 to a negative 110. Oh, my mistake. Negative 110. And then everything else we just bring down from the step above. So I'm going to collect like terms and bring numbers down simultaneously. So the 52 can't be combined. The negative 8 and the negative 65i, 153. So we get negative 153i. And then you'll notice you can still combine the 110 and the 52. So we're going to say, oops, sorry about that. We're going to say 52 minus 110 is negative 58. So we have negative 58 minus 153i. And that is in standard form. And this is our answer for part C. Moving on to part D. Part D has got a little bit of addition, a little bit of multiplication. It's just got a hodgepodge, a cornucopia of math over here. So we're going to go negative 3i times 7 is negative, let me do this problem right here, is negative 21i. And we have negative 3i times the 4i. That's going to be negative 12i squared. Whoop, ringing, right? Your alarm. Doot, doot, doot. We got I squared, not allowed to have that. This means the opposite of negative 12. So this is going to turn into positive 12 because that's what happens with I squared. I squared just changes whatever the constant is, the coefficient is, to positive from negative, negative to positive, whatever it's at. So this is going to be 21i, negative 21i, plus 12. And everything I didn't use, that plus 10i, I just write it there. And that 12, I just write it there. And I continue to simplify. So I combine like terms, the 12 and the 12 gives me 24. The 21i that's negative and the 10i that's positive gives me minus 11i. And I now have my answer for question D. Okay. It is in standard form because it's the real number followed by the complex number. Last problem, question E. Question E is a binomial or is a complex number raised to the power of 2. So I'm going to write down what that means. It means 5 plus 4i times 5 plus 4i. I'm going to multiply those two guys together. And it's FOIL. It's exactly like question C right there, except the numbers are not the same. But the technique is 25 plus 20i plus 20i plus 16i squared. There goes the alarm, right? Whoop, whoop. Okay, so this right here, when you have 16i squared, that's positive. We're just going to change it to negative 16 and then collect like terms. The 20i and the 20i is 40i, so we have 25 plus 40i. And the 16 and the 25 can combine to give us 9. So our final answer is 9 plus 40i. And I don't want anyone to get confused and think there's a negative there, so I'm going to get rid of that. Oh, too much eraser. Get rid of the negative right there. And that is our answer for our 5th simplifying problem. All right. See you on question number 6.